And welcome to a special event on the Random University channel on YouTube. This is not a WTP production. This is a separate thing, right? It's something that I'm trying to start soon here where I have one-on-one personal interviews with people that I know or have met in my life. We'll call it This Is How I Feel, right? Now, today I'm here with my uncle, Mike McCann, and our special guest, Tyler Reese Kirby. All right?
Yes, sir. Nice to meet you, Reese.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm glad that y'all had me over.
Yeah.
Of course.
All right. So to start it off, what is it that you do, Tyler?
I pretty much, I guess you say, to wrap it up in one package is I run basically a movie production company. And that's the main, I guess, that's the main focus is mostly the films. I started in theater, but when I get to that point where I want to run back around and do that again, I'll be doing that stuff too. So right now it's that, and then I'm trying to get into the graphic novel series stuff. I've been writing on that. I've written 2 or 3 of those and waiting to get to the point where I can illustrate them to put that out. But that's basically what I'm doing. And in that, it's pretty much everything: producing, directing, acting, writing. So those are my main things that I'm doing. And acting is where I had started. Mm-hmm. So now it's just I wanted to be able to, as the saying goes, if you want it done right, do it yourself.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where I'm at now. And if I can kind of run my whole company, which is the Mystical Core Studios, which is I'm working on more of an umbrella company, and I've got a few names. I haven't got the name yet that I want. And when I get the name, that's when I'll turn that over to where that covers like 4 or 5 different categories of stuff that I'll be doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a full, I guess, run deal what I'm doing. So
okay.
The main passion is the acting, writing, and directing. That's what I like. Don't mind being a producer. Don't mind if I get other producers to help me out do producing, because that's a lot of hats to wear. And as on this project, I had to do that,
right? Which
is very time consuming.
Okay. So you said that you've been in theater for how long?
Well, I started in theater when I was, I was 18, coming right out of high school.
Okay.
And that's where I went because I played sports all in high school. Never did any theater, none of that. Like I didn't play, I played ball, played football, and like ran track and stuff. So that was pretty much what I was doing. I had no idea what I was wanting to do. And it was like, it came to me like probably like a month before I graduated my senior year.
Yeah.
It was like, go do this. I was like, thought about it, asked around where I could kind of get started. And there was a small community college, which is now, I think they're pushing for it to be like a 4-year college now. I may stand corrected on that. I'm not sure. But last time I checked, they were kind of growing a whole lot. And it's Calhoun. It was Calhoun Community College back in the city where I'm from, which is Decatur, Alabama. And I got involved with those guys and at the Black Box Theater. Mm-hmm. And that was under 2 guys named William Proven and William Gotze. We called one of them Bubba, and it was Bill Proven and Bubba Gotze. And those were my first teachers, so shout out to them. Learned a lot from them. They were very old school. So I was able to get started off. I did Shakespeare first. Like I did like 3 shows in Shakespeare, and that like they took Shakespeare really serious. So I probably could go anywhere I'd want, and I understand how to do Shakespeare. Like they gave me a good thorough on that. So they always said if you can do Shakespeare, you can do anything. So which is true. I found that out later. Shakespeare is a very interesting language.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting way we have to do things. I mean, there's a rhythm, a pace to it. all that stuff. So that came down to help a lot. So I did that, and we did other shows and stuff. Probably, I think I did Community for 3 years solid. And 3 years solid. I just didn't really want to go to college, really, to be honest with you, like just to do anything else. I just wanted to do that. So I finished all the classes. I finished all the workshop classes, all the theater classes. I finished everything that had to do with that. And then I was like, okay, I want to go do it now.
Right.
It's like, so I really didn't finish with the college degree on that. I just finished all my classes. I was getting scholarships. They would give me a scholarship like each year once I started there, and it helped me out. But I didn't want to, I just didn't really care to do anything else. So that's what I did. When I was done with that, I was like, hey, that's a degree enough for me. Go do it. And then that's when I went and did community theater. Which is just like in the community downtown and stuff. I did that, let's see, maybe 4 years. And then this one I started doing what I'm doing now, like, did a couple of shorts. And then I did the feature that that I showed you. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so you did all of this in Alabama?
I did all of it in Alabama. I didn't go to no school outside of Alabama. The only thing that I ever did was go and maybe do some work. Like I did a commercial actually in Tennessee. It was a military commercial. Mm-hmm. It was a little thing, but it was a military commercial that wasn't even aired over here. It was like aired over in like, I don't know where it was at. I don't know if it was Germany or somewhere, but I did it here, and I think it was Nashville, which is a crazy story. What happened? The car broke down when I was on my way down there, and the guys had to come get me. And yeah, it was wild. Like I just like rolled over on the side of the road and pulled up, and like I pulled up in front of it's a strip club in the daytime, and I said, Jesus, they're gonna think I'm, you know what I'm saying? And they rolled up and was like, no, dude, no worries. I said, man, this is where I broke down. This is not where I was at. Yeah. So I just get me to where I need to go, right? And he was like, okay, let's, he said, you're fine, dude. He said, let's just get your car in a better place and all that. So, So I went and did that. Outside of that, I did a lot of auditions in Atlanta, and I had gotten, I know one thing, maybe a couple of things. I know it was one thing that I had gotten, but I couldn't do it because it wasn't paying, and it was too far at the time for me to do. Right. And my car just going back and forth like that, the car that I had, it just wasn't going to cut it. So I couldn't do that one. And it was a feature film. So my first feature film that I auditioned for and was able to do actually was in Alabama. So I've done most of my work actually in Alabama. Like I've worked with people from California, New York, Atlanta, and a bunch of other places and stuff. But most of the work came from Alabama till I did this movie where we shot it in Alabama, and then we went and shot it in Atlanta or in Georgia too, and Alpharetta and a couple other places.
Not to cut you off too short.
Yeah, you good.
It's just interesting to hear about your experience of doing it in Alabama and in Georgia, because usually you don't typically hear about filmmakers doing films out in those areas. Usually it is like a California, New York, or Toronto, something like that. So how difficult was it to shoot in Alabama and Georgia?
Alabama Georgia, Atlanta, they are doing.
I'm about to say Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta's popping. Like Atlanta's been that way for a while now. Like Atlanta's like, it's a lot of films. When we went over there, it was really easy to get locations and get people. It's a dog lover.
Yeah, I know.
It was really easy to get locations. It was really easy to get people to help. Like if we needed somebody that day, and I could just shoot it out on the thread or whatever, and just boom, you just have somebody later on. Actually, the guy that was in that scene that we did, the big guy where Ty's fights, that big, for those who have seen it, like ghoulish, I guess, type character. He was in that area. Like we called him up, did that improv that day. So that whole thing was never rehearsed, like other than what we did that day. So it was real easy to get to places. Alabama's issue was, we have actors from Alabama. Most of my actors ended up coming from Atlanta, but the most of the part of where I'm at and where Alabama is, it's like people, when I was starting it out, the biggest issue I had is people would give you locations. People would give you places where you could do it. I could go find places that I can do it because that was easy because it was my hometown. I could go find spots. Yeah. Really easy. I could talk to people or whatever, and it was like, hey, I'll just give you credit. Oh, really? You do movies? I'll give you credit. Okay, yeah, you can do it. How long are you going to be or whatever? And I was like, man, just give me a day or whatever. Okay, that's fine. Just come on a day that we're off or that we're closed. And I was okay, that's fine. And that's how we would really do that. It was just hard finding a lot of the actors are finding people to do certain things. Like I literally had to sit on the side of the street during like certain events that they would have downtown and try to take donations. Like, so I'm out here by myself. When I first started I wrote it.
Yeah.
And then I was in the process of the auditioning, and I was having to get money for yeah, it's my buddy right here.
Right, his new best friend now.
Yeah, he's my
Taking a
podcast buddy.
liking to you,
My podcast buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started. It was because I wrote it. I wrote it at. I think I went out in the woods and wrote it at my aunt's house. That was like, she was like a little further out, and I just stayed out there. And I can't remember. I think she went to Florida, and I just think she needed somebody to watch her house for her. So I went, babysitted her house. When I was out there for like 3 months, I wrote the thing on the kitchen table.
Okay.
And then it was like, okay, this is what it's going to do. I didn't plan on it being a short film. Or a feature film. It was a short film, but it kept on coming and coming and coming. I was like, well, it's going to be a feature. So when I was there, I was like, well, I've got to find a place to hold auditions. So I found a guy named Dave that he did like it was like a pecan place where he sold all these like different types of pecans and stuff. And he had an upstairs that was really nice. I was like, can I do this? Can I shoot in here? Can I do my auditions in here and stuff? He's like, yeah. So I'm on the side of the street, like the sidewalk, sitting up the table or whatever. I had like my jug and had the name of the movie on the jug. Taking donations or whatever. Like,
okay.
Hey, you guys, would you let me, you know what I'm saying? And what I got was a lot of, they want to know what it's about. And it's the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
Right.
So you talk about spiritual warfare, you talk about the supernatural stuff. They're like, okay, it's like, yeah, a lot of them are church buying people, but a lot of them look at your poster or look at your kind of things like, I don't know if I want to get involved in it. I was like, well, this is what the stuff you go to church to think about.
Yeah.
You get taught, right? Mm-hmm. That became an issue kind of like for a donation thing. I said, so they didn't really donate. They would just walk past me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, that's funny, but oh well. I ran into that, and then it was like, when I ran into that was kind of hard getting started, but I got a hold of my agent that I would do the auditions with.
Yeah.
Barbara Garvey. She helped me out so much with this. Just, she posted it, and out of that, man, I just kept getting auditions and people, and after that, it was just kind of like we was on and rolling.
Yeah.
And then once we did it, we were good, and that to me was more or less the difficulties of it, is the fact of it was like getting it started. It's like I had to get, and once I knew when I got the ball rolling, I would be fine. But it was getting people to look at this and not look at it like I said, okay, that's weird. Like what? Like, okay, that was something you would. I mean, I don't know how many times I heard someone say, "Why don't you just go to California?" So I don't want to go to California.
It's too expensive.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go to New York. I mean, I've went and visited New York, but I don't want to. Like, I'll go there when it's time. I feel like I have more control over what I have.
Yeah.
And I can make those decisions. So that's what I did. Atlanta could have been, because it was closer. I could go back and forth. I didn't want to. So it's, and it can get cliquey. It can get cliquish with people, especially in the film area down there sometimes. Like, they got some good film people, you know, that will help you out. And then you got people where it's like, well, you know, we're the film guys. We're the only ones that need to be film guys. You know, so it's competition there too. But it's just, it can come from that view. Right. So the people that help, thank you for that. For the people that don't, oh well. You know, it is what it is. But that's kind of what I ran into there. It was kind of hard getting that started, trying to get that going. And, you know, with no money. We had a little bit of money or whatever, so I had to take the donations with it, you know, but I didn't have the whole, you know, just huge budget deal to do this thing. I didn't think it was be as good as it turned out to be. We were just going to try to piece something together. And I was just trying to do my first one. That's just what I wanted to do. I didn't care if it turned out good or not. I said, I just want to do my first one so I can learn how it goes. I've done these 2 features. But a feature to a short is a whole nother different thing. So I just want to, you know, I want to make sure that I just know how to do a feature. And then my next one will be good. But it turned out really well. So, you know, we was able to get, you know, a lot of people from there. And the people that were from Alabama that helped out, you know what I'm saying? You know, they helped out a whole lot. The guy that plays Jackal, the character Jackal, Tom, Tom Hagel, he helped out a whole lot on the movie with the edit because he helped edited the movie. He did the After Effects. He did, he acted in it. So he's helped out. He's helped out in a lot of ways. He's helping me right now with getting these things in the festivals and stuff too. So that him and Steven Cantor helped out a whole lot. The little girl's mom, Nanette, and all of them, they all helped with certain things at certain times that they put in some extra deals and stuff like that. You know, the guy to play the devil, he helped out. So it was just, we didn't have a crew. We had, our actors kind of were the crew. You know, we had one camera guy, you know. Yeah. I started out doing a couple of stuff with that. And I was, all right, I got to have my guy, Ryan Sims. And he finally, and I'm thankful that he just went on and said he would do it. And he's like, I have to do it on the weekends. I said, well, yeah, I have to do it on the weekends with everybody else. So that works. Right. So mostly Fridays, Saturdays, I think maybe Sundays we did it. So I just had to wait throughout the week. And, you know, it took like, I think it was maybe a 6-month shooting process.
Okay.
So not completely, you know, terrible, but the post-production was what was harder. You know, it's trying to nab people for editing and After Effects and that process. That was what was really difficult. And then when I finally, you know, Tom said, all right, I'll do it. You know, so yeah, the editing process was really, really interesting how I had to do that. Like, yeah, it's like I was like YouTube. I was like looking at the time. I would have to write down, hey, Titus turns his head this way at this time. He gets back to this time, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds later. I want him to turn at this time. And I would have to email it to him. And he would have to put it together. Yeah. And it was like, that is a horrible, nobody ever have to do it like that. Like this is one of the worst ways you can do it. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I had to do. I was in the library doing it. Yeah. And he was just sending it to me on like, I think Google Drive, and I would watch it. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, Tom, this is what we got to do. 3 minutes.
My uncle can relate to that experience. Not necessarily for making a movie, but editing.
Oh, so you've done editing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just sort of like for this channel, like I make the videos, I do the editing. Okay. You know, I come up with most of the ideas, except for the podcast. I let them come up with most of the ideas and topics that we're talking about. But sort of like if I do my own individual videos, I do my own personal editing when it comes to that. So I do that. And I mean, as a kid, we used to work on like home movies. We used to do those and stuff like that a lot of time, but we didn't have as good a technology. So we used to, you know, just do what we can with the limited software we had and the cameras that were JVC and janky. So
what do you do now? What do you use now?
Now I use my phone and I use Filmora. That's pretty much what I use as my editing software.
Phones are crazy. It's crazy now with phones.
Right. It is. Eventually, at some point, we would like to get a camera. An actual camera.
Because I got another camera. I got the Sony Handycam.
Yeah.
Which is gonna have to come in some major use eventually. So having that as a backup, which is, you know, it's 4K, it's a really good quality camera. Oh, yeah. Most of it's lighting. So if you get a lot of the lighting right, a lot of the picture will come in as smooth as you'd like.
Right.
So That's like the main thing that we have going on right now. And sort of like, if I ever want to do my own film, I'll definitely need that camera, just to have another angle and perspective. So when, like you said, when people turn, you have that other angle that's available to you. So you don't have to worry about like, hey, telling somebody to, because it makes people not be as authentic as you want them to be and comfortable on set. So, and that's just coming from me like now, because I'm in an acting class now. So what I do is, you know, my instructor, she'll tell us about different things that will come into editing. But that's why she wants you to like sometimes face, you know, the crowd a little bit, but not overly face it. Don't make it too robotic. You want it to be pretty natural, but also make it to where some things aren't going to be as hard to edit in and out of the video.
Are y'all doing more, like, is this more like for film, or are you trying to get acting for doing like theater too? Or is it both?
It's film and television.
Film and television, it's the difference. It's a difference between film acting and theater acting.
Yeah, theaters it's completely different.
The code, or I guess I don't even want to call it a lore or the myth to acting is theater actors always make great film actors because it's so much easier to just tell somebody, hey, just tone it down.
Okay, yeah.
And you know we're on. There is no cuts when we're on, and you gotta be on point when you're on stage.
Right.
So that's the lord of that. And then it's because it's so much easier to get them to come down than to get somebody to come up. Because if I got to get you to come up, I got to get you to come out of your shell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And all I got to tell someone that's already out of their shell is like, hey, look, just chill. You know, just chill, just chill out, just be cool, relax. You know, film acting is this, really. And I watched a thing on, I think it was Michael Caine, which is a great actor.
Yeah.
Great actor. Played a great Alfred in the Dark Knight series and a lot of other stuff. He said the difference between acting, and this will go for you when you think in your acting classes. He said the difference between acting on stage and acting in film is it's like when you do surgery.
Yeah.
It's like a scalpel surgery is theater. And film acting is laser surgery.
Yeah.
So when you're on stage, I'm reaching out to whoever's in the back. So I have to make sure when you're doing film, think, okay, when I'm acting, I need to bring the camera in. Okay. So theater out, film in. And it's a real close intimacy when it comes to film. And it's just, if you can walk up, someone can walk up like we're doing lines, right? Me and you are doing lines, right? Yeah. And someone walks up and it's just kind of engages in conversations. Oh, my bad. I didn't know y'all was having a conversation. Yeah. They didn't know. They didn't ask we was running lines. They just said, we thought we was really having a real conversation. Right. That's how natural real it can be. When you can do that or whatever you get. So always think in your mind when you're rehearsing something or you're doing something, it's like, I want it to be like if somebody were to walk up, they would excuse themselves. Oh, my bad. I didn't see I was talking about something, conversation or whatever. Not walk up and be like, oh my God, I didn't see y'all rehearsing. Because the director never wants to see, even though we're actors, a director never wants to see an actor acting. I don't want to catch you acting. I don't want to catch myself acting. It's real, you feel it, and then you let it be. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Natural flow.
A natural flow. It's that's what it is. So because I remember when I started out, it was like, I think the biggest thing for me that I always would get it was never like horrible acting thing. It was like, oh, you got to work on your accent. I was from Alabama. Yeah, I was raised around a bunch of rednecks, and so what? It's like folk, they twangy, I'm twangy. It is what it is. Nothing wrong with rednecks. I'm just saying, like, people like they that's the biggest thing I had was they would say my accent, and then I would get people that they're not understanding, like, well, Lucas Black did it. Yeah. I said, well, I'm not Lucas Black. Yeah. And Lucas Black is good. He's been good in a lot of, I liked him when he was a child actor. He did a lot of good stuff. Yeah. And that was Sling Blade and all that and stuff. And we had a lot of good actors come from Alabama, had a lot of talent. But if I want to do something where the voice has to be this character, I want to do a Captain Jack Sparrow. That's, he's from England, or It's like, I think it was kind of like a Cockney accent he did or whatever. But from the Caribbean, or I'm from wherever, I'm not going to sound like I'm from Alabama, you know. And I know they could be like, well, we could write it in your character because, you know, I was like, no. And a guy said something. He said, you don't have to like be that. You're Southern, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my better assets because it can be Southern charm. Or just be Southern and know when to, you know, and then when you're doing a character, because I've played several different types of characters that had just different voices. We just had to be voices.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know what I mean? And just doing that over and over, it kind of makes the accent take away it's kind of like the twang was what was causing me to have an issue. You know, and they used to tell me, so just have a general American accent. You don't have to sound like you're from New York. You don't have to sound like you're from California. You don't have to just sound like you are just like it's like a general, like a news reporter or something. Not monotone like a machine, but just, you know, okay, you know, you're just pronouncing the things, unless I'm playing a character like that.
Right.
So, because there's a lot of great, you know, so having a Southern charm or a Southern accent and being from the South and being able to do that has helped me out a lot with characters and characters I wanted to do. So it's just finding that base of controlling it like anything, you know, and using it because Matthew McConaughey, he's from Texas.
Yeah.
He uses it really well. You know what I'm saying? So it's an asset. So you just have to learn how to use it as that. But that was the struggle for me starting off, you know, if I'm supposed to sound like I'm from England, and I don't sound like I'm from England, and that's the character I got casted as, it's going to be a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
some things just might not be necessarily in everybody's range. For me, I struggle heavily with accents, so they don't really
you try to do accents. Like,
I haven't worked on them enough. It's one of those things I probably could do. I could do a couple, but I'm not really good with say British accent or like an Irish accent. I'm terrible. People in my class laugh me completely out of the room.
Here's an example. Here's an example. Okay, I had to do I don't know if you ever heard of the Female Odd Couple story. When I was doing theater, it's Female Odd Couple. And the two guys that are the only males that's in that show are Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's Spanish. So it's kind of like, you know, I've got to learn how to do a Spanish accent, and it's like, you know, if I'm doing the Alabama accent, it's not gonna, you know, I've got to be a Spanish guy. So I had to dye my hair, and I got to do this little mustache thing, and I've got to, you know, make myself, like, we had to dye my hair like really, really black, like really dark, and you know, so
essentially make yourself Hispanic.
Exactly, make myself a Spanish brother. So you know, and then I had to really watch Spanish films and had to do Spanish. So if I would have been like, nah, I'm just not going to do that, you know, like, I wouldn't have been able to get the role. So I had to, you know. That's what it was. It was that, you know. I've played, you know, I've done children's theater before where I had to play, like, it was a character, like, I had to. It wasn't necessarily from England, but I kind of had to take on more of an English kind of that type of area over there accent, so that I could, you know, fit in with what everybody else was doing. So a lot of it was English, you know, kind of deal. So when I did that, you know, I played a few things. I played the Grinch one time in a play, a children's show, and they dressed me up and put me in green, and my hair was green, my skin was green, everything was green. So I had to come up with a Grinch accent. So voices and things and stuff like that, you know. So like I said, that was the hardest thing for me, was to try to just tone it and find how I could make the accent, my Southern accent, work for me. Right. You know, and be smooth, because Southern folks got they can have a smooth act, like a smooth charm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I said, McConaughey's got a smooth charm. He knows how to do that pretty well. So,
while we're still on the topic of acting, since you mentioned McConaughey and Michael Caine, are these some of the people that inspired you?
I think since you just to name them two, because I won't leave them out. Michael Caine is for as a teacher, as far as watching somebody and listening to his classes or just listen to him talk about it. Guys like that, Pacino and Robert De Niro, Daniel Day-Lewis, Kevin Spacey, those type of guys like that are more like, for me, like it's like I'm learning in class. It's different than having like my top 5 favorite. You know, if you want to ask me that, I'll answer that too. But as far as just learning from people, those guys, you know, Morgan Freeman's and like I was a big fan of Forrest Whitaker. I like him. That dude. Oh yeah, he can, you know, him. Idris Elba.
Okay.
I like the fact that he went from like he could do like Heimdall from in the movie Thor.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know that was him. You know, until after. And if I don't know that's you and that's you, that's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Him, and then he did Daddy's Little Girls, and then he did like he could do like Pacific Rim, and then he could do like
The Office.
Is there range? I want to have ranges. I wanted to be an actor. Yeah, I want to be able to have range. I don't want to be just kind of one thing and go through. McConaughey would be probably someone that I looked at and was like, okay, he makes that Southern work for him. You know what I'm saying? In his way. You know what I mean? How can I make my Southern work for me in my way? Where it's there, but it's not there. But you know it's there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I can cool that in. So to me, yeah, you know, so those guys like that. But Pacino's my guy though. Al Pacino's my guy. He always was my guy. Like if I was going to give you like my top 5 favorite actors of all time that I watched, Pacino would be number 1. Depp would be number 2, Johnny Depp, because he just can play characters. To go from like Ed Wood and Edward Scissorhands to Captain Jack Sparrow to, you know, I liked him in Black Mass. I don't know if you ever saw Black Mass where he played like Whitey Burger. Yeah. The gangster or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He did great in that. Mel Gibson was just like, because Mel Gibson was probably be my main guy that inspires me to be able to do all that stuff.
Yeah. Because
what he did on Braveheart, where he was the director, the actor, and writer, and all that. Mm-hmm. You know, between him and I would say like Sly. Stallone does it with his action, like he did things like with Rocky and stuff. You know, so Mel was a big part of like being able to do it. He could play 3 or 4 or 5 different ways of mad. You know, he could play 4 or 5 different ways of being crazy. And if you can play the same emotion 4 or 5 different ways, and it's like it's a different character, that's cool. Pacino can play 3, 4 different gangsters, and they all be different.
Yeah,
Scarface is not the same as Michael in Godfather. He's not the same as he is when he's in Carlito's Way. You know. When he's playing, you know what I mean? So,
no, he's a different guy.
But he's a gangster, but he's a different gangster every time. Mm-hmm. He's a different guy every time. So, yeah, I would say that. And then I would say, I don't know who else I would say those guys have been big. Those 3 have been like my top like guys that I watched that really, really stand out to me. I'd have to say Morgan Freeman's in there. Just as a classical actor, you know, mm-hmm. He was great. And then I like Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is a good one.
Yeah,
I would say those guys. Those guys, like I watch those guys and Stallone and them. I like Harrison Ford. I like Harrison Ford.
You just like really great actors.
Well, yeah, of course we all do, right? You know, no, I like if I were to put Harrison Ford at my number 5, if we were doing a top 5, it's because I like charming actors. I like people who can charm. He can charm, you know, Indy and Han and all them, like, because I was more of being, when I would do things, like if I played a bad guy or something, because I played a couple of bad guys, that's what I went more for, a charming bad guy. Charming was a thing that I could do really well when it came to characters like that, especially villains for some reason. You know, good guys I can, but good, like with bad guys, I can use my charm to be manipulating or something.
The best villain is charming.
Yeah, so I like charming actors. I like ones that can really can just walk in and captivate you in a charming way. But yeah, those guys would be the guys that inspired me. Really, really inspired me. I think I watch those. As far as yeah, and I watch everything Al Pacino does. That's a subtle. That's where I learned my subtlety from. If I'm going to be subtle, and he's very subtle, but he's very powerful until he's not subtle and he's like explosive. So that's where I like. He's just very on every little thing that he does.
So a common theme that I'm kind of noticing across all the actors that you've said in the movies that you mentioned, you seem to be really into action.
Yes. I was raised on action. Action, my father passed when I was very young. And to everybody, that's a hero. Most of the time is your dad. Your dad's that tough guy. You know what I'm saying? And, just a long story short, my dad was a pretty tough guy from the stories that I've heard. So when I would watch it, I never really told anybody this, but when I would watch these movies growing up, and it was like, I knew what I had to do if I had to protect myself or defend myself, but I would watch these movies and I would kind of just think to myself, like, that's as close as I can get in my mind to like feeling like, my dad telling me, yeah, it's all right, go punch that dude in the face. Yeah. He shouldn't have took whatever he took from you. Go and get that back. You know what I'm saying? When I was a kid. So it was like, I watch those. So I watch action movies and I watch them from a perspective of like, every guy watches, we like to see things get blown up and we like to see things, people having shootouts and fights and bar fights and all that other stuff, and a lot of stunts and everything. But for me, when I was a kid, it was always, and it's still sometimes today, I always would watch, the movies and stuff like that. And like, I just felt like watching that type of stuff kind of gave me that kind of close interaction. So to me, movies kind of gave me that connection with him. I felt like when I was a kid, and I was looking for that, I guess. I would say that. Like Patrick Swayze, and that's another one. Patrick was a good one. Patrick was good at action. A lot of people don't give him credit for it. Yeah. He was a ladies' man. He was a ladies' man back then too, but he could do roadhouses in Red Dawn. I don't know if you've ever seen Red Dawn, where they take over the school and stuff. So that's the theme. I think of that a lot. And then I guess I'm an active stuff. I like things like that. I like fighting. Like, I like the art of fighting. I think there's a difference between liking fighting and then liking the art of fighting. So I like watching MMA and watching boxing and watching, things like that. And I guess the calculation of being able for someone to be able to, it's like a chess game, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, if you can play checkers, you know what I'm saying? Make it easier for yourself,
Right.
So, find it the more simple, easy way to get in there, right? I think, calculation. It's more of, and it's a lot of that. So, I guess that's just, I've always been into that. I've done contact sports. I do, I train now with my strength and condition trainer, and then my martial arts coach sensei. That's Coach Itai or whatever. That's shout out to Coach Itai or whatever. That's a good dude. He's helping me out. I'm supposed to go train with him tomorrow. So he's been really, really, really good with me. So it's just the art of it, I believe. I like that. I like to summarize. Probably my favorite type of warrior, class of warriors to watch. I watch some Samurais now, like The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. It's another one's pretty good action star. The Mission Impossibles and stuff. Yeah, Last Samurai is cool. They got a cool philosophy or whatever. Yep. I actually bought an Oni mask, samurai mask. No, it's not a real one, but it's not a real one. My coach made it. He can make them. and he made one, and I was like, man, I'm getting one of them.
So, nice. Oh, okay. So yeah, much better than my Squid Game mask.
Squid Game mask?
Yeah, that's
man,
I
watched the Squid Game. Look, I watched the Squid Games. I watched the first deal, and I didn't finish it.
Okay.
I need to finish it. So I
pretty decent
show. Everybody was saying it when it was big, which it took me forever to watch the Game of Thrones. I didn't watch it when everybody else watched it.
I didn't finish
that up until the last season.
That's what everybody says.
Probably
what everybody, I've heard that many times.
I was told to stop watching it because of the last season.
Yeah, they said don't watch it. Don't watch it after the big battle.
Right.
Yeah, because that's where they should have ended it. So I don't know. I like Yellowstone.
It was
that's another great one too.
It is good. I like Yellowstone. I like Stranger Things. I want to see them finish that out. Stranger Things kind of brought you back to what we grew up off of.
Yeah.
And the kid actors fighting monsters. Because I grew up where we had a bunch of, they don't make kids like they used to. You know what I'm saying? Like not like those kids in the movies and everything. Like the Goonies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Remember those? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are classical movies. So
I don't think
I have a child in mind. So
yeah,
that's a big character. So
I don't think kids these days would be able to handle these situations like kids back then.
Yeah, they were a little tougher breed back then for some reason. They were, well, I think, man, that's just a lot of what these kids have to just, they've got kids nowadays. They're smart. They probably build something that could, they got all these, well, when it comes to technology, man, they've got the phones, they got the tablets, they got all that stuff. We was out there running around in the dirt, rolling around. We was tough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You had to be tough, and you had to be like, we weren't going to talk mess online. Like we were going to actually, like, you got to square it up if you're going to say it. You're going to have to, because I'm going to see, like, you're going to have to, like, even if you didn't want to, because you didn't have nothing to protect yourself behind. You couldn't protect yourself behind like a laptop or a Facebook or a Instagram or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, and it taught you, I think it taught you a little bit more respect too. It's like, if I'm going to say something about this person, I better be ready to back it up. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to confront me. And the same way with me, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, now it's like, let me go type something maybe. Stuff still goes on. Don't get me wrong. People still get into it. World's crazy. But it's just, I guess, kids nowadays, it's just, maybe it's that. It's a lot of electronic stuff, Not enough nature, I guess. They don't get out and play ball and,
taking the world around them.
Yeah. I remember playing pick 'em up, bust 'em. Football.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and we would smash each other, man. My best friend, but man, when we're competing or whatever, we ain't friends, and we friends after. But I was just like, damn, I'm surprised people didn't come out with more broken arms and fingers and leg, anything. Like we would drill each other and play on the concrete too.
Done that before.
We played on the concrete at times too.
Done that
man.
before. Not smart, but it's
smart.
done.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But you tough. I think it's just an everyday thing, man. You stay inside on the computer all the time. Even now, when I stay inside, if I'm doing something, I gotta go outside. So I'm glad, I guess, I had that. You know what I'm saying? But I can work the computer. I can work on these things, but I have to go outside. Like I can't just stay in the house and just stare at a tablet all day long, man. I just feel like it affects me. Right. I gotta get out in nature. Like I walk when I'm thinking about characters. That's my thing, to walk. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And
I think Mel Gibson said that one time. He said he walks. He's like, what do you do? How do you deal with all of it? And he was like, I walk or whatever. Like to stress. People in my hometown, they'd be like, what is he doing? He just walks all the time. I was like, you don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. You don't know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I'd be moving. I walk. I go to the park. I get ideas.
You think, yeah.
You think. You walk it down.
I was curious as to what your process is, like whenever you come up with these characters and movie ideas. And
man, my process has always been, and I had this process since I was a child. I would read, and I didn't know I was doing it. I would re-edit movies when I was a kid. Like, let's say I watched Rambo, right?
Okay.
So Rambo was a kid that, it was a movie that a lot of kids grew up off of, like, you know what I'm saying, back then. And I was like, I want to see what Rambo would be like if he was fighting this or this and this in my head. And I could edit it in my head. And I could sit and like, I would sit and I would rock and chair. Like I had like a recliner or whatever, or a chair like that. Yeah. You know, man, I'd sit down and I'd put headphones on. You know what I'm saying? And I would listen to music. And I would just see pictures in my head. You know what I'm saying? I like pictures. I like looking at pictures. I can get online and just look at pictures.
Yeah.
You know? So I see pictures. So, you know, I would edit them in my head. I could just redo the whole thing in my head. And then eventually I when I was doing this, I was like, damn, it's like I've done this before. This is all it is. So it kind of was, it's always been there with me, but I just never, like I said, I play sports. So you played sports. When I grew up, you played sports. My uncle coached us in football. That's what we did. You played sports. And I just thought my mind was just thinking just cool stuff to do with movies. I didn't think it would be like editing mind. That's what you think. Like, that's how you think when you're editing or when you envisioning. We have a vision, you know what I'm saying, of what we want. So that's kind of the same process. So I'll walk or I will post up somewhere and I'll listen to music. Now it's just, I just let ideas roll and they'll just pop in my head and then I write them down. And I always try to make sure I write down, you know, something. And then now I use what I've used. I think it's Scrivener I got from a guy who was a good friend of mine. Because he writes and stuff too. So I just write my ideas down there on my laptop. So, and then like in my notes and everything. And it's like, sometimes, man, my ideas would be like crazy. Like, let's say like, it's just an idea, like my mind will pop out and be like, sword. And I'm like, and I won't think about nothing else.
Yeah.
So I'll just write down on this date, fantasy sword, or just samurai sword. It's like summarize. 2-3 months later, now I see a person holding that sword. I see a samurai holding this sword. A week later, now he has a name. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now I see him fighting whatever he's fighting this war. Now, then it starts and then when it clicks and it rolls and it's like, then it's just coming. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and right. So, like I said, this one that I did here, this short film, this feature film started off tried to be a short film. You want to know what it was? You want to know what it was before and when it was a short film? It always had to do with an angel. It had to do with like an angel type thing. It was a little girl's family. Her mom was dying of cancer. Okay. And I wanted to show the spiritual warfare, what goes on the other side of when something like this is happening. Like a kid or whatever, or you know, when someone's sick or when someone's dealing with drugs maybe, or dealing with just some kind of thing. What's going on the other side?
Yeah.
What's pushing and pulling, and when they say we struggle with principalities and all that stuff. Like what is that? Like what's going on there? So like this angel would come and visit her. Like, you know, if you ever had somebody that's died, like they were dying and they bring them back to the home and all the family's there and they kind of spend the night and stay there. So like all the family's there sleeping downstairs in the room and stuff. And little girl goes to bed every night and stuff. And she's just kind of zoned out. But an angel comes and visits her every night. And he sits up and he squatted up over on like a dresser and he's just sitting there. And he talks to her through the night, and he's telling her the process of what's happening. This is you know, this and this and this and this and this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
and
I get it.
Like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he go back. He's like, I gotta go back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because business needs to be taken care of. Right. Tonight's a bad night, or tonight's, you know, we're gonna have to deal with this tonight. And he would like comfort her, and that's what he would do. That's what it was at first. Then I started writing, and I was just like, all right, this angel's now becoming, like, there's just more stuff to do. And there's more ideas coming in, and this and this and this. And I was like, well, shoot, why don't we just make him this? Because he's a comic book character. Titus is a comic book character. Right. So I'm like, well, we'll make him a comic character. And this is one of his first things that we see him do. And kind of do it that way. You know what I'm saying? So... yeah.
Not to cut you short again, but funnily enough, this kind of sounds oddly familiar, like a character that my uncle had created, McCowson, many years ago.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
McCowson?
Yeah.
It was McCowson.
Angelic, samurai-inspired, sword-wielding being. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if
very
later. I guess yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was thinking like I don't know if mine was samurai inspired by the actual samurai. But what's funny is that he does become engaged with samurai training and stuff later on. So I guess you could say that in its own right. It's just not right now. He's got a more of a he kind of just He-Man'd out in the movie if you think about it. Just pull out the sword, I got the power, and just blow him up. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean that's what it was. I couldn't do all the fights. I had to do whatever fight scenes I could do.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious, just because I know people who act, people who try to direct, create, they have way different ways of thinking and how their brain processes information and how they come up with ideas. So like sometimes for me, I don't know if you've ever done this because I'm trying to figure out how weird my brain is. You'll just be by yourself sometimes and you can just find yourself acting out a completely random scene to yourself, envisioning multiple people in dialogue, imagining a whole situation, and you just act it out to yourself. Only problem with me is I don't tend to write out these things, but it does come out as like, that would be a pretty genuine scene in a movie, but you can't ever picture exactly where you're going to put it or fit it in. But it has room somewhere. But I just want to know, like, do you do that from time to time?
Where it's just random?
Like, yeah.
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I will, look, I'm going to tell you, man, the wheels is always turning.
Yeah.
The problem is not to get the wheels to turn. The problem is to make sure they turn in the right way.
Yeah.
You make sure you direct them in the right way, and you keep your lane clear, and that and not be distracted. And writing it down will do that for you because once you write it down, when you write it down, it's there. You've done that part, so I can move on from it. It's kind of like we release things. I think there's so many different things that you can talk about as far as like where that comes from. You know what I'm saying? I mean. As to how far you want to get deep into the part of that, but it's like a lot of people believe a lot of things. Some people believe like you are those types of characters. Like people, I don't know if it was Johnny Depp or somebody said everybody's got a little crazy in them.
Right.
Yeah.
You
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So or someone's got everybody's got a little something in them. What he's really good at is he takes emotion. Let's just say anger or sadness or whatever, just an emotion you feel, and stretches that so you feel it's real, but it's also a character. Because there's a difference between character acting and just me being, Tyler, or what I'm saying, Reese on just me. When you see me and putting myself in that situation, you have a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? And then I can play a character where it's just kind of stretched, not overly animated, but just he has this quirks, or if you want to call them quirks, he just has his, I guess, details of how he expresses himself in ways. Yeah, so that's kind of, I have that, man. I have that all the time. I can be riding down the road, man, if I'm basically by myself, whatever, and I can turn over and I can see something like, if it's raining like day or whatever, if it feels like a certain thing, man, I can see something jumping on top of buildings. Just, I'm saying, what is that? Now I got a guy nice chasing the thing, whatever it is. That's a crazy idea,
right.
Yeah. Like, it's a creative mindset. Unless you have a creative mindset, you don't know what that means. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? I would rather have that and be able to try to contain it and just be a dull rock.
Right.
Just,
we talked about that.
We discussed this.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just this table, just nothing. Like, it's just a table, So the wheels have to turn, you just got to make sure they turn in the right direction. I mean, it's crazy. You think people believe in a lot of things. Like, people tell their stories. People are so real. Like, they believe in past times and stuff. You may have been this person before. Now these ideas are rolling through. Now you're writing it down.
Yeah.
It's just crazy out of nowhere, I know a guy that he really loved World War II. So he felt like maybe he was a guy in that time period. He said, I never was. He said, I wasn't born then. I wasn't born in that time period. But I have a passion for it. Why? So, I don't know. It's whether you believe in that or not. You know what I mean? So it's like, ideas can come from anywhere. And then if you see something, and, we process stuff. So we watch movies, we see people throughout the day, and then we connect the dots. Like, you got to connect the dots. And it's like, you could be sitting at a lake and thinking, this is a love scene. Because I've seen that, or I've experienced that.
Right.
Now we're doing it at a lake. You know what I'm saying? Or we have like you know what I mean? So it's I think everybody has their mind has the same. But to answer your question, yes, I do get random creative thoughts all the time. It's not like I'm training my mind to be like, okay, I want to write now.
Okay, yeah, that's me. I
don't want to close that off completely because you get your best ideas when you're just not thinking about anything, and then boop.
Yeah. So it just happens.
Yeah, it's just remember it. Don't go crazy with it. Don't leave it in your head. Put it down.
Right.
So,
a personal question that I wanted to ask since we're on this topic. It seems as though a lot of the best creatives in any genre or field have touches of mental illness or trauma or things like that. Would you agree that in order to be a truly great creative, you have to possess some sort of trauma or mental illness or quality or something like that that makes you different from most?
That's a good question. Because the question that people always ask or they always say is like, how do you know if something's really, really good if you've never experienced anything bad before? So like, were we created to experience good and bad things so we would know how good things are? You know what I'm saying? Type of thing. To be a creator, man, no, because I think I know people that have never experienced, being a gangster and they play gangsters because they maybe know somebody that's a gangster or they've done the research and they realized what is a gangster, like what drives them, what emotion, what nature drives them to be this way, Mm-hmm. You may have never been in the military before, but what drives military Marines to be a special force, guy that can go in and clean up a town? Like what drives him this way? And you kind of absorb what that is. You know what I'm saying? Now, I mean, I've had experience where I grew up. It was kind of tough. There was tough situations that I can pull from that, but also can, like it's just learning how to work with your energy. We're all very vibrant people, I believe. So it's like, I was talking to a guy or whatever, I think he did, and it was a while back. And he was into jiu-jitsu. And this was like when I was back in Alabama. And he was telling me, it's like, you have to have violence, but you don't have to be self-destructive with your violence. Violent is just kind of like something that's very vibrant, explosive, expressive. Really, it can be, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's penetrating through or it's breaking the mold of something. You know what I mean? So, but if I go train and punch a punching bag and I'm hitting it violently, you know what I'm saying? And I'm punching a punching bag and I'm not punching you in the face, that's not self-destructive. Right. So there's a aggression that certain people can have if they have that or whatever, that really, really, like if they learn how to channel that and focus that, even if they've never done it before, you know what I'm saying? They can just tap into that side of them. And I don't know, we have instinct and we have senses that can just, if we listen to those things, because when you're acting, you're supposed to be doing that situation right now.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you create your own trauma without it traumatizing you.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So probably not. I mean, it helps. It helps because if you really are a tough guy, you ain't gotta act like a tough guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's not his work. Or if you really are a funny guy, you're just comedic. You ain't got, you know what I'm saying? Like you're naturally funny or you're naturally charming. You can be naturally charming in a movie. Or if you're, whatever it is. If you played sports, and you start acting, and you got to be in a sports movie, it's not a lot of, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
As a director, I want to say 90% of it is casting. And the rest is just kind of directing you to make sure you go in the right direction and you don't. You're done again, like, this is the blueprint, kind of, this is where I want you to be. And just kind of coach you along the way with that, right? Mm-hmm. Acting is kind of like that. Like, I mean, directing is. That's what I see. So, yeah.
Another question. With the directing and casting, whenever you're looking for a character to fill a role or a position or whatever it may be, what qualities or level of performance are you looking for from anyone that's doing a what's
audition?
Audition, yeah.
It has to fit. Everything has to fit. I think there's no right and wrong way to do something or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think everything just has to fit. And if you don't make it fit or whatever, then that's when it becomes a problem. Like, you can be a great actor, right? Like this dog right here.
Yep.
Acting like it loves me. Right. Oh, no, you can be a great actor, and you can be a phenomenal actor, right?
Yeah.
But if I roll across somebody that's never acted before and this is their first thing and they're green and they just fit the character, then that's who gets the role. Like the little girl that's in the movie or whatever, there was only 2 girls that auditioned for that movie. She was the first one. There was nobody that was going to be better than her.
Right.
And so I knew right then, if her mom is cool with it being this movie is going to have like curse words in it and this type of blood and action and shit or whatever, we're going to, we'll do it. And I asked her and she said, nope, we're good. And I was like, okay. It's a tough kid too. So she was like 8 years old when we did that. So
nice.
When I'm looking for it, I'm looking for somebody that just I see in my head, but I don't close it off because you could show me something different, right. But you could be a better actor than the person that gets the role.
Yeah.
But you can't be better at this person at this role.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying? That's why there's no competition in art.
Right.
People say that there is. Like we just won 2 awards at a film festival for one of the, it's a competition, but that's because people make everything a competition. Art's art. It's kind of like you just express it. It's from the soul and spirit. You express it through the body and anywhere you need to express it. And that's what it is. And it's like whenever you get to that point, you understand that, man, that's when you're going to do really great work. That's what I noticed. And it's like, yeah, it's like nobody can really stop you now because it's like now you're unlimited. You have no limits. You can just flow right through. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the most important thing is to make sure everybody fits. And, just try to find someone that fits the most. And then hard work and dedication and showing up on time and being a person of your word is very important. And showing respect. You have to show respect. I don't tolerate disrespect on my film sets. I'll walk you off. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. So
have you ever had
never had to walk nobody off, whatever. I've called a few people to the side before and had some discussions with them, but I've never had to walk nobody off. So that people are really passionate about what they want to do or whatever. It's like, the thing about it is it's not about just satisfying me, it's satisfying yourself. Right. Satisfying what we want. Look, I'm the director and I'm saying what kind of goes, but that's just because I understand the vision to the core of it. Yeah. Just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. That's all it is. It's not, let me rule you. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like the rulership is it's a vision that goes in where it goes. And we just got to make sure y'all don't go venture off over here. No, we don't go there. Let's bring you back over here. There's nothing over there for you. We're right here. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what that is. But yeah, to answer your question, I think it's that. I think it's finding somebody that you have to find that person that fits. And I want it to be natural and authentic and genuine. Everything, we don't have enough genuine energy. I want to feel something from what you're doing. And we have to really, really like, I don't like cheesy stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to look up the word cheesy and see what it means, actually. It just means to do something without no reason. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No meaning,
yeah.
Purpose.
Yeah, it has no purpose. You're just doing it. And it's kind of like, you know, why are you flexing your muscles in the movie? You know what I'm saying? You're just trying to show out. It has no reason, you know, unless you're doing something that it does what it does. You know, you may be bodybuilding or something. Okay, you have a reason now. You have a reason you're pushing weight or whatever you're doing. So I think that's what I looked at, you know what I'm saying, the most is it has to be something that fits. It has to be something that's natural, and it has to be like just the hard work. That's put in the work as we come to work. A lot of people think it's a hobby. It's not a hobby. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, it's not a hobby. Not when you're making it at this level. So
no,
I don't care what nobody says.
I feel like you only make it so far if it's a hobby for you, or you're only gonna be able to do so much. I think you could be talented and get some work, but you're never gonna be great if you just treat it as a hobby.
People who say it's a hobby don't know what the hell they're talking about. They just, or whatever. It's like, I've done that work before. I've done their work before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've been out there, done the work in the world. Like, it is what it is. You do a film or whatever to the caliber like we did it to or whatever and stuff, you're going to find out. It's the trenches. You know, and the way we had to do it or whatever, it's like we call it guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was out there in 10 degree, 15 degree weather or whatever and snowing, and I had to stop because we had snowflakes coming down. And it was supposed to be filmed in October, but we had to finish some of it in January. So it was cold and it's snowflakes coming down. So we had to stop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got one guy out here with no shirt on or whatever, freezing or whatever, and do a fight scene. I'm out here with half a shirt on. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? You know, it is what it is. I got a baby girl out here that's 8 years old or whatever. It's tougher than just about everybody on the film. You know what I'm saying? You know, not cutting nobody short on the film, but she was just as tough.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't complain at all whatsoever. She just did where she was needing to go. She'd let me know or whatever. Okay, I'm getting cold. You know what I'm saying? So, Mr. Kirby, that's what she would call it. Like, you know, I'm getting kind of like, all right. You know what I'm saying? You know, so we make sure we take care of her, you know, but yeah, we had some hard scenes. You work 20, you know, you film 18, 19 hours, 22 hours, and then you turn back around and have to drive back from Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I think there was a couple of times where I was like, fell asleep with my eyes open. I looked over at my camera guy and I was like, can you fall asleep with your eyes open or whatever? And he was like, yeah. I said, well, for the past 20 minutes, I apologize. He said, was you asleep? I said, I think so, with my eyes open. You just kind of come out. You go through this portal. It's like you know, like I was asleep. My eyes were open. I didn't know it was possible. Like, I think it's like your brain just like sleeps, but your body's like just looking at everything going in because I think it feels like it's like a natural instinct. It has to.
Yeah, it's basically it's just an auto filter. Your brain goes on autopilot.
It's bad.
Right.
Yeah. We work third shift, so we know.
Right.
I do too. So I'm right there with you.
Autopilot.
Another third shift in. Okay. Okay.
What a cast of people here. Hard to find 3 third shifters like that.
So right? So we're a rare breed.
But I agree with you. I find myself going in autopilot all the time, especially at work. I think I told you, I hardly ever think about work at work. I'm always thinking about something else.
Right. I understand. I feel you. And you kind of have to in our job because it can be dangerous. So, but I feel you. It's well, you know, artists are artists. I think everything's an art, though. Even the stuff we do on third shift, there's an art to it. There's a way to do it. There's anywhere it's an art, you know. And I tell people, like, you know, I wish I could be creative. I was like, well, you know, you build stuff, don't you? You build houses, right? Yeah, you're creating something. Anytime you're putting something together, you're creating it. It's just, it may not be movies.
Yeah.
Everybody sees the fame and the red carpet and all that stuff, the fun stuff, but they don't see the struggles and the efforts and the sleepless nights and having to wake up in the middle of the, or be awake in the middle of the night and like, Jesus, I hope nobody calls me telling me that they're not going to be able to make it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I get a phone call and I'm like, shit. And I get up and I check. It was like, we good for tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, we're good. I'm like, okay, I can go back to sleep.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so it's you know, it was a lot of that. So, you know, just we were starting out with each other. Everybody on our set, we didn't know. I might have knew one person, familiar with another one, but everybody else we pretty much met all new people. You know what I'm saying? So it was interesting. Interesting characters.
Did you want to react to that clip?
Yeah. Actually.
Oh yeah, you want to look at one of the clips. Which clip did you want to look at? The little girl, or would you want?
Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to pull it up on the screen here.
Oh.
But
it's fine. I can find a way to edit it in.
Right. So, the first scene from the movie that I'd like to speak on. But first, let's establish what the movie is called.
Oh, yes. You want me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. The film is called Guardian of Mine, as in M-I-N-E. And it takes place, it's kind of a small town, and it's about spiritual warfare, supernatural. It's pretty much a mission they're looking to go on, and we got a lot of wild activity going on back there. Y'all keep it crunk over here, don't you?
Yeah. All the time, man. They're always, the fire trucks are always running here.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a good neighborhood.
Yeah, I know. We got all kinds of stuff.
You know?
Yeah. It's an action movie.
Right.
But I've got I think it's where was that? Yeah, Guardian of Mine. So it's based off of supernatural stuff, and a guy's kind of trying to protect the girl. He's protecting the girl for a reason. She withholds something. He needs it, and it's been kind of a, we can talk about that here in a minute. What that relationship is,
right?
After you asked me about the scenes, but that is what it is. It's Guardian of Mine, my first feature film. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. So the opening scene, you cut into the character. I did forget his name, but it's the older man with the white hair.
Jackal?
Jackal.
With the purple, with the bluish kind of purplish jacket or whatever. Yeah. Yes.
And then the other lady as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the man is sitting up against a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the opening scene, establishing scene.
Yes.
They're talking about the girl or the power.
Magically appear pizza?
Yeah.
I ordered it a while ago.
I was going to say, I need to come over here more often. We just magically appear pizza. I didn't know. That's a talented gift you have there.
Just pizza.
They're talking about
But yeah, go ahead.
power and the girl and all of that. At first, what I really liked about it was the transition of them killing him to the train track scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was very smooth, cool, interesting. I like that a lot.
How we broke it, how we ended it, that scene on that, and then to go to the next one with the angels, I believe.
Yeah. And then we're introduced to the two angels. I did forget their names too, man.
Which ones you want? The characters' names or the
characters' names?
The characters' names. The angels that we use are Raphael, and there was a angel called Xiphon, I believe. We used one. I wanted to use one of the four main archangels.
Yeah.
That is as one of the guys, and I wanted to use just somebody that was kind of like I don't like to say like a lower case angel, but someone that has a little bit more we don't know of to kind of bring that into the light. So one that we know of mostly, and then another one. So, yep.
Right. And then they're talking about needing to call upon someone, Titus, I believe.
Yes.
And so we transition from that scene to Titus being at the bar and playing a game of poker with a bargoon.
Yes, is that what he is to you? A bargoon. He'll be happy to hear that or whatever. Right, that guy is the nicest dude you'll ever meet, and he's into all kinds of like just different stuff. But he's a very interesting person. He's a good guy though. He came through and helped me out or whatever. I did theater with him in the community theater. So I was like, I need a big guy that'll work with me. He'll work with me. So yeah.
Okay. And of course, they come and meet Titus at the game. Of course, him being a bargoon, y'all get into it over him losing the match, right? And having to give you his father's watch.
His father's watch. Yeah.
And then, of course, y'all have a back and forth, Raphael and Titus, and
that's a little later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he comes back in to the same place. Right. He's drunk, passed out on the pool table. Yeah.
Oh dang, yeah. That's true.
Yeah. I was like, a scene you're talking about was right at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, it's early in the movie.
He does that and he leaves.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then he has his
and
then it's the next day, I believe. Yeah.
And then from there we transfer over to the girl and her babysitter, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, babysitter.
Okay. And she's praying, talking, or they're talking at first, just having a casual conversation, and then she's praying, and specifically, oh man, I do wish I kind of could pull it up.
I wish you could pull it up.
You can pull it up on your phone.
Yeah.
You want to pull it up just pull it up on your phone. So people can watch it. You'll find a way.
Yeah, y'all can watch it. Right. Okay, yeah. So on the news, there was a mutilated body, and she's talking about, like, what would you do if that were to happen to me?
Yes.
And she's saying, you should pray.
Yeah.
And, run away.
She's I wanted to create a kid that was into things that like adults were into.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, like my grandmother would read me the Bible. And like at one particular time I knew I could just like quote the Bible to you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I could do it now, but like at one time I could quote the Bible to you. And she would read newspapers and she would read, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So it's like I was a kid, like I would go do kid things with all the kids and stuff, but I come back home and I would do like grown folk stuff. I tried coffee, but I didn't like coffee.
Yeah.
She drank coffee. I didn't like coffee. So,
Right.
I wasn't going to sit there and be a 10-year-old kid drinking coffee, reading a newspaper, whatever, smoking a cigar or nothing. So that wasn't going to happen. But there were things around it. And I was like, it'd be cool if we threw like a kid in there where she was like, she reads the newspaper, she watches the news. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's into like just things and stuff like that are very interesting. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I did that.
Okay, and then so the babysitter puts her to bed.
Yeah,
of course, I'm there a little back and forth. But the next scene, very interesting scene. We see Titus in a bathroom.
Yep,
staring at himself in a mirror.
Yep,
and also we see a horn. I believe that is the horn of Gabriel.
We see that in the scene where the angel appears.
Yeah,
the first one is when he's dealing with I call them the Kiats, which is the symbols of creation on his chest. If you want me to explain that, I can explain that.
Okay, yeah. So I was curious as to what the symbol represents.
When Lucifer fell from heaven, this is my analogy, something I created in my mind. So I may find it on Google somewhere later on.
Right.
But I didn't look it up. I just came up with it in my head. So It is what it is. Lucifer fell from grace. He took third of heaven with him. So after that, to make sure no other angel fell from grace, God slapped a collar on his angels to where if they ever veered off, this pain and this thing would draw them back. Mm-hmm. So he being what we have now is we have him, and there's a deeper story to him and his father, and the archangel Gabriel is supposedly his father.
Right.
There's a deeper story to that. Gabriel is involved with that, definitely. But it's just interesting because how it comes through and how I work that, I want that to be people if they figure out like kind of in the comics and a little later on. But Gabriel is involved at that, and I'll just leave it like that. But he's half kind of deal. So he can fight that pain a lot more because he's not like 100% like angel. So part of he's a man, so his willpower can try to muster through it. So that's why he stays kind of drunk all the time, or you don't have to really get drunk technically.
Smoke
abilities and stuff keep him from. He kind of regenerates, but he'll drink, kind of distract him from the pain. Gabriel had a lot to do with the water elements, so that's why he gets into the bathtub, pours the water on him, and kind of tricks the symbols into kind of every night laying off of he's doing something. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then it burns it in, and he kind of can get to a point where he can wield against it and shut it off for a while. And then when he shuts it off for a while, he'll it comes back. Most of the time at nighttime or whatever, when he's late at night or whatever, and it's kind of like whatever. If he stays active, he can kind of do it. But that's trying to get him. The whole story is trying to get him to step up to the plate. He's ignoring all those details and everything else because he's had some experience with angels in the past, and he just pretty much says, "Screw them." You know what I'm saying? Right. I don't feel like doing anything with you guys. Right. I'm not gonna be a villain, but I don't care. Like, he just whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He just doesn't care. He's very anti. You know what I'm saying? Right now, very anti-hero-ish. You know, so he grows later on into more characters and stuff. And even in the movie, you can see him. So, which I really, really, really love the fact of how his character grew. And you watch him this to this. He's kind of sloppy at first in his first fight. And he builds up and starts tapping back into his abilities that he has to be able to do these things. You know what I'm saying? So, and protect and stuff. So he's trying to get that out of the girl. So, you know, something that has to involve Gabriel. You know, Titus has a thing for kids. Protecting kids, his thing. Right. That's how God was going to bring him back. I put it in a little kid or whatever. That's when he'll step up. Right. So it's kind of like the Harry Potter, the sword will come to whoever when they need it. You know what I'm saying? You know, when we get to that, we get to that. You know what I'm saying? I'll let you finish what you're saying because I will get back to the ending of how it came back to him.
Okay. And so then in the next scene, we see Jackal, and I will mention this was a pretty well shot scene. The door opening, revealing Jackal at the house where the girl is, and then him just going through and looking at things in the house. Pretty intense music.
James Cameron.
Yeah.
James Cameron. He's one of my favorite directors, in my top 3 favorite directors. And it's that whole where he walks in, he shoots things kind of widescreen.
Yeah.
You know, just that whole, you know. Yeah.
And so then that's the scene where we see Raphael and
Zyphon.
Yep. Raphael and Zypher come in Titus, and he is passed out drunk in a bar. And of course, he's asking him to help out. Titus is resistant, anti, all that. Eventually, it gets revealed that the girl potentially possesses some sort of, or they allude to her.
Okay. Now we can get in. I guess I can get into that part of what the whole deal is in the story, and it explains it kind of in the story. It's like at one time Gabriel controlled this particular thing in the heavens that was like a pure destroyer. It's like what would take out Sodom and Gomorrah? What would take out, you know? And that's some of the key stories. Gabriel was, he was aligned with was destroying Sodom and Gomorrah, and some other things I read up on him as being that was one of his missions. He's not just he's a special messenger. He's not just a messenger. He's been delivered the punishment out for God, the left hand of God. You know what I'm saying? Strength of God, hero of God. These are a lot of missions he ends up taking on to. So I looked at that and I was like, okay, he did something with this thing at one particular time. And it's a sword. It's like a key that helps control this creature, right? So this thing that's going on and he destroys, something takes place that made Gabriel even at one time be like, this is bull. It's like, you know, that's almost like you know, thinking like, you know, God, that's a little harsh, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? But even he at that point, and Gabriel's always been kind of that type of archangel to kind of go do, you know what I'm saying? But this time he was just like, nah, it's just like, I don't want to do that no more. So he gives it up. He goes off the situation and what happens, he kind of goes into the state he goes into, and then as a child, and then it's like later on, you know, God's like, we need that. We need that tool. We need that to be in the hands. And, you know, Gabriel's not going to be able to do it. It's going to have to be his son, or it's going to have to be Titus. So how can we get him to stop doing what he's doing and, you know, just kind of wasting his time and stuff? So he places it inside a child who specifically has a certain type of personality that will help Titus out, bring him back to. So that's what the whole chase is. The chase is to get that out of her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Into his hands, and he do what he needs to do.
And we see that whenever Jackal, we cut back to a scene of Jackal now using his powers on the babysitter.
Yes.
The girl sees this.
It's a really good scene. Yeah, that turned out well. I like that.
She's afraid. She's hiding under the bed. Then, of course, Jackal snatches her from under the bed. Definitely some kid type stuff to go hide. I was
trying to throw a little bit of old in there and then put in the. Yeah, I wanted to bring people back a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, but also like some things when you do your first feature film, it's kind of like, okay, I grew up watching movies. I got to do a little bit of this on my own. So I get that out. Now we can go do, when I do other movies, it's like, okay, now we can, and I think it kind of will always be with you in some state because you grew up off of it. You're going to want to do what you grew up off of in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
But in my mind, I think the first place that any villain would probably ever look if they were looking for a person is under the bed. But I get it. She's a kid. Of course, she's gonna do that.
You got to think. There's a supernatural essence to him, the sense to him. He can sense that out.
Right.
He's taking the babysitter out first. There's no problem, and then now, he's gonna appear in her room. He didn't unlock the door. He just appeared.
Yeah. Right.
And then he knows. Okay, she's under the bed.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? It's like it's pretty obvious. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna smell you out. If I gotta smell you out, I'm gonna. You know what I mean? So that's when you start getting to your.
But it was definitely I admire the childlike humor there.
Yeah.
And then of course, like I said before, he snatches her out from under the bed, and then he's about to do whatever he's going to do to her, and then Titus appears. Right. Yeah. And then Titus channels his energy.
Lit. He's half lit. Like he's half lit. He's been drinking. And he's not. You can't get him drunk, really. But he can do things to get him to kind of to a little state. If he's not using his powers as much because he's ignoring them, it kind of can affect him a little bit. So that's why he kind of falls.
Right.
So, he's not done it in a while. So you got to think he's kind of sharpened himself back up again. So
kind of like a Hancock or something like that.
Yeah. If you want to say that, you know what I'm saying? That's an interesting concept on it.
Then of course they get into it. I did like how he threw the girl
over the
out
bed.
the way, and then Titus channels his energy, shoots an energy ball at Jackal, and then that's where you can see the effects and all that around the wall. And all that.
Yeah, we had to put that in there. That didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah, we created that hole in that wall.
Okay.
not on set. Like that was all computerized.
Right.
Got you.
Right.
Okay.
And then in the following scene, he takes her downstairs, pours up a glass of orange juice and a small glass and a large glass for him.
She pours it.
Yeah,
for
she
him.
pours it.
Yeah,
up.
she pours it for him.
And then a personal favorite scene out of the whole movie. Titus smokes.
Yeah.
So he pulls out a cig
Yeah.
and asks the girl, "Do you smoke?"
Yeah.
And then she was like, "No." I thought that was pretty funny. That got me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had to find something that was going to be like a good little introduction to okay, who are you?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Just appeared in my house with this guy.
Yeah.
And then shot a blast at him.
Okay, you just saved me from this guy. You haven't hurt me yet. So she's nervous, and I would say he's nervous. He's just more kind of timid to okay, I don't want to scare her off. That's the girl child I need to be with. So,
right.
But he's a little rough around the edges. So, you smoke, okay, probably shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like that, and I wanted to kind of show that kind of deal. So he, she's drinking orange juice. Like she drinks when she likes orange juice.
Yeah,
kids like OJ, and she drinks when she's nervous. He drinks whiskey. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what he's referring to, or some kind of beverage or liquor or something. Some alcoholic drink. That's what he does, and he's just smoking cigarettes just as is.
Right.
Kind of like that. Yeah, it's just kind of like I guess comes along with the territory. He gambles.
Right.
You know, he does a lot of different things he probably shouldn't do at first, but he doesn't.
So they have a discussion. It gets revealed to Titus that she possesses a birthmark that lets him know that she's also half angel.
No, she's not half angel. The birthmark is just only to spot out the fact that she's carrying. There's nothing supernatural about Naya's character. Mm-hmm. And that's the special part about her. Is because her heroic deed is to help Titus see that there is still light at the end of the tunnel, or there's still, a value to these people here, and there's innocence here, and she displays that. And that's why God chose her, because she's that type of person. She's a strong personality. That's her strength, and but she just holds the key inside her. It was placed in her, so they're gonna have to come in contact with her. So the birthmark is what makes it's just kind of a symbol of, if I'm in her presence, I can do this meditation. This birthmark will appear. We have the right child. It kind of marked the child that she would be with, so we could find her.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying. So that's what that is. But there's nothing supernatural about Naya. Her gift is to be able to be a child. And if you let the innocence of a child, we can unlearn. We can learn from children too, So as Titus needed that.
Right.
Like in the cemetery scene. So I'll be your friend.
In the cemetery scene.
You know what I'm saying? So, sometimes we need that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, kids are, can make us feel that way. So
all right.
That's kind of how it is.
So after they have their discussion, Titus says that you'll need some protection, so we're gonna have to go to this bar. He meets up with a guy he knows at the bar. Trades the dude's father's watch, Bargoon father's watch, in for what was it? I believe it was
it's information on a guy that they need to go talk to that can help them with a lot. It's kind of the guy that helped take Titus in when Titus was younger, and he knows, he just knows a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of stuff, so he's a guy to go to where she can hold up. They can hold up at, and I'm saying the house is supposed to be protected in certain ways. Lucifer still finds his way in there, but it's kind of like that, So that was the information he traded it out for. So chose the watch because that's kind of a thing. I know a lot of fathers that have given their watch to their sons and stuff. So that's kind of where I got that from.
And funnily enough, as they're about to leave, you see the Bargoon again with a shotgun.
He come to get his get back. He come to get his get back. You know what I'm saying?
To get his get back. Yeah.
Yeah. He knew. He figured he'd probably be there, and I think he maybe staked him out and watched him. You know what I'm saying? Go in, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna get around and go around the back or whatever."
Right.
Yep. Did you know that car in the back? Did you see the car in the back? That's in the back of the thing. You know what that is? You know what kind of car that is?
What kind of car?
It's a hearse. That's his hearse. He owned 2 hearses, and he didn't work at a funeral home.
That guy owns a
very interesting person.
This is just driving a hearse.
No, he just had it. I wanted him to bring it to the premiere. Yeah, he owns a hearse. So
okay,
he owns a lot of things. He was our prop master. He got us all that cool stuff. So he has a lot of collectible stuff. So
yeah, he pulls up with a shotgun, points it at Titus. Makes some threats.
Yes,
and then of course Titus disarms him and takes the shotgun with him. Right? Yeah,
yes.
Because of course, why would you not take this shotgun? Yeah.
I put that together because I was like, I need we shot that after, and I had this scene where I just wanted to shoot this I wanted to shoot this guy with a gun, and I think we had done something or whatever. I had done the cemetery scene was one of the first scenes, and I had the shotgun with me, and I was like, well, how do I get the shotgun? Titus could have it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have it in the other scene. So why didn't he pull the shotgun out when he was fighting Jack on the first deal? That's because he didn't have it. So, but now I was like, you know what? Let's bring it here. So I had to throw it in there. There's a few little things that happened like that along the movie that I had to kind of backtrack, go around, move around. And you do that with movies a lot of times. So we have this here. How do we get it? oh, this is how we get it. So that's how that whole scene came down. We wouldn't even had that really kind of deal. Like, I had something along the lines of that where they meet, whatever, but it wasn't like, it was really driven to drive that shotgun and get the shotgun.
Right.
He would need it later, obviously.
And then in the following scene, we now see Jackal at a church with Lucifer. Funnily enough, you made Lucifer a pastor.
No, I didn't make him a pastor. I didn't make him a pastor. Is that what you took from that he was a pastor?
I thought he was supposed to be like
That's cool that you said that, though. I never thought about him being a pastor there at the church and stuff. When he's referring to the art and all that, and he's like, I helped build the churches and stuff, it's just kind of like, at first, like I was there too. Like I was in heaven with God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I was a part of that concept before I fell. You know what I mean? So, but now they just meet up in an old church, and it's kind of like another Lucifer jab, like piss on God kind of thing. Like, I'll just have my meetings in your little sacred place. Right. You know what I'm saying? Your little, church. You know what I mean? So it's just Lucifer being a prick about things. So, but that's interesting that you had him as a pastor, though. That might be something later on. Right. I never thought about that. I wonder how many people thought that.
Well, that's what I took away from the get up and all that. But yeah. And then now we're introduced to, don't know his name either.
Philip. You gotta get Philip on his name.
My bad, man. I literally just did watch it like not only but a couple hours ago, but damn, I did forget like a majority of the names.
They got the main character, right?
Right. Yeah, Titus and Gabriel and
Naya and
right.
Willow. You want
okay.
to go through and name all the characters?
Sure.
No, we're good. Willow. Yeah, that's who he is. He's an interesting guy.
Right.
I didn't think about killing him, but then I was like, probably better off.
Willow apparently knows something about a poem full of like old incantations that he gave to another lady. I forget her name too.
Well, Titus was given a book, and he just had things in there. He just didn't give a damn. Just like he didn't give a damn about the horn. Okay,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So when that happens or whatever, it's just kind of like he just goes into that. He like usually says, "I'll bet this witch. You want to have a book of spells? Here you go."
Right.
He lost, so he has to go back to the girl and get it back. But he finds these poems and stuff that, like you said, or these reciting things, that they can use. Because the whole thing is they're trying to get it out of her. They don't know how to get it out of her. But there's a secret to all that, how it ends up getting out of her. All Titus had to do, it's a journey. Remember, it's a journey from Titus starting out, stepping up to the plate. He has to show God, he has to show this, that he's going to, the key is not only going, it's never going to go to Lucifer, really. It's not going to go to anybody, so, but when Titus steps up, because when he takes on that full form, and he says, I'm going to be this, I'm going to do this, as you saw in the end in the church when he's saying, like, look, I'm going to burn it down. That's him releasing that. So then it appears to him. The poem to recite, that would have never worked. They just think it works because they're just trying new things. But the real art of it was him finding out. The real thing about him was finding out that him stepping up to the plate, and then it appears to him to be able to use. You know what I'm saying? Because it's his naturally. You know what I mean? So those are those things. And then when he so it's kind of like an exorcist spell that they would exorcise demons and things that were in people's bodies and stuff that shouldn't have been there, like, certain types of spirits and shit. So they're just like, okay, maybe, maybe this will work. That's the only thing they kind of can come up with, so that's what they go with. You know what I mean? They need to go do it on holy ground, so it's on holy ground. At the cemetery is where it's kept, the the elixir deal. That's why they have to go to the cemetery.
Okay.
Because a lot of things don't go down. Have you ever heard that witches don't do things on holy ground? Like,
yeah.
So it's kind of that whole little vibe or whatever. So it's safe there. They go there. You know, he talks about the dead, does his thing there to get it to come to him, and then that's the whole thing. But the major thing was him stepping up to the plate. That's how he ends up getting the whole sword and the key and the whole thing to direct it towards Lucifer at the end of the movie.
So after the scene of him
with
Willow, we have a scene here of Lucifer trying to manipulate this girl to use her abilities
to find him. That's how
he
finds him. That's how she's telepathic. Yeah,
right.
She is the girl that Naya is talking about in the first. She said, "My best friend Sarah."
Yeah. And so after that, we see Titus and Naya. They're in the building with the lady looking for the poem, and after they're trying to find the poem, I believe Jackal and the other lady come in, and now this scene I thought was kind of funny because the lady pours some salt against the door, right? And I guess that's supposed to be like a biblical thing. Are they like vampires or something?
It is a lore. No, they're demons. They're just lowercase demons. That I won't say lowercase. They're not Lucifer or nothing, but they're his henchmen. Some of his henchmen that work.
Right.
But yeah, witches. Yeah, warlocks, things like that. I know witches for sure. Salt has been it's like a pure element. Her type of salt is pretty pure. That's like that does that. And it's supposed to try to keep them from being able to cross. Yeah, right. Cross through her.
Now
she should have just poured a circle.
Right.
Around
yeah, poured a circle around themselves. Because the funny thing about it is that the lady that's with Jackal comes up with just a fan and it just blows the salt from under the door.
Do you know?
I thought that was kind of funny.
But you know why I did that though?
Why is
it's like it's an ego thing to like. Well, it kind of goes back to, I guess, a little bit of my training. Like my coach be telling, like, Tyler, you ain't got to kill it so much. Technique, right? So, and you don't have to do as much.
Yeah.
But sometimes when we focus on power so much, and are these beings that just can snap something, you know what I'm saying? And pizza can appear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you just did, right? Or just,
Yeah.
We get lost up in the work ethic of things and just a lot of things that go on, right? And simple, we lose the simple man, vibe about us. So it's like, and her being a woman, she's male egos too. So that's kind of like, her being like all that yelling and screaming at the door and banging and,
sometimes
that I can blow this house down like a big bad wolf. You're not doing anything. Won't you just use the fan and blow the salt and walk in?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yin yang. You know what I'm saying? Simple. Just why don't you just step over here? Or why don't you just, you know what I mean? Like
through the window.
What? Yeah. What? Like, well, she can't get. They can't get in until they break the salt. She's got the salt, the windows, everything boarded up with salt. So it's like now, when she just. So she just. I was like, let me just do something humorous to kind of poke fun at the demons and just the supernatural powers, like. You tell me this salt is just going to keep you whatever? Won't you just get a fan and blow it from under the door and break the deal, That's what I was going for. And like, of course she doesn't have to plug it up. She just sits it down and, blows, makes it work. So, that's the jab to that. Because he's out there with the knife and everything. He's like, open this door and all this stuff. And she was like, that's not necessary. Won't you just, It's a yin-yang effect.
Right.
It's calm, chill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, correction, it wasn't Titus and Naya, it was just Titus.
Yeah, it was just Titus.
And Naya is back at home with Willow.
Yeah,
and then
keeping her safe.
Right, keeping her safe. And then Lucifer comes into the house, sees Willow.
We improv that scene.
Yeah, starts torturing Willow. And I will say the effects, or not the effects, but the practical, like
makeup,
and all that looked really good. That was pretty decent.
Yeah. Shout out to my makeup artist, Carrie Ann Morgan.
So now that we're done with the salt scene, the next scene that I thought was really interesting was whenever you get to the cemetery, and of course you need to get the elixir for Naya, right? So I thought what was really good is whenever they're sitting at the gravestones, the scene where you go from the moon, the trees, down to them sitting at the gravestones. I thought that was a really beautiful scene. Yeah. And of course she says we can be friends and all that good stuff, trying to get that human element out of Titus, right? And then of course they go back into the church. Lucifer comes for the girl. Titus and Lucifer have their back and forth. Looks all as though Lucifer almost wins, knocks out Titus, right? And then Titus comes back with the sword and the angel, aura, right? And pretty much just puts an end to Lucifer, right? It was,
sends him back to the pit.
Right.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest scene. The roughest scene was in the church because it was cold and the hardwood floors were hard, and extra emphasis on the hardwood floors. They and I had to fall down and get back up, fall down and get back up, because I did all my stunts. So, and the pews weren't even so they weren't, they were old, like hardwooded pews. So now, I'm slamming back into that, and everything. So yeah, it definitely was taxing at times. So anytime you're just getting beat up, you know what I mean? It can be that way. But that's, I felt like that was the best place to end it. Cemetery scene, that was where my father's buried. I used his tombstone. That's the one that Titus is leaned back against. Yeah.
Okay.
That will be done, I believe, on it. So I wanted to use that.
That's an interesting detail. Yeah.
Yep. So his tombstone is in there. So so it's like, yeah, it's like that, and I wanted to end it on this. I was wondering where I was going to have that battle at, and I was like, well, why don't we have it at the place in which we first see Lucifer, because that's where he would go back to, and kind of thing, and we needed kind of like a holy-ish type deal, and then Titus can give his 2 cents on how he feels about the world. And then that's when the moment he picks up the mantle and says, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And that's when the sword is the key is revealed to him, and they take a walk on the spiritual side. Right. And he comes back because he has unfinished business. He doesn't need the symbols no more, because now he's gonna do what he's supposed to do. Right. So they kind of fade away, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For that purpose. So yep, that's what it is. And I felt like that was a good ending spot, and the best way to do it. I had many different ending scenes that I wanted to do, but I was like, what's the best way we can do it? And then I was like, end it on, like he said, with Guardian, because that's Titus' self-realization of finding out, hey, you know what I'm saying? Now, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So told the angel this, you can get off my back now. I'm doing what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it my way, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I work with you, but I'm going to do it my way. So, yeah, that's because he knows the ins and outs of a lot of things on both sides. So,
Right.
Yeah, it's his man side, the free will side. Understands that.
Okay. So now that we've wrapped up the movie, I guess we can get into some more fun questions.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, what is some of your favorite movies? And were there any movies in particular that inspired this movie?
Yeah, the show Supernatural kind of inspired this with dealing in the category of the stuff. And And I would say Constantine, because Constantine is kind of one of the characters that is one of the comic book characters that kind of inspires Titus, you know, in his concept of what he's doing. And then, but as far as like, there's a few comic characters that kind of I looked into that inspired. But that's one of the main ones. But as far as like my favorite movies that I have, like that I watched and everything. If I were to say my favorite movies, if I was to give you a top 5 favorite movies, I would say Scarface.
Okay.
Scarface is my, you know, Tony Montana. The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Christopher Nolan. Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
The first one.
All right.
The first Lord of the Rings. I think that's the better one out of all of them. And I'm a big fantasy person too. So Lord of the Rings. And then I would probably say Raiders of the Lost Ark, because Indiana Jones is probably one of my favorite movie characters of all time. And that's just one of the best. I think that's the better one of the Indiana Jones movies. I like all the Indiana Jones movies. I didn't see the last one yet, but I did see the first 4. Yeah, definitely Raiders of the Lost Ark. And that 5th one, I would probably say the 5th one's kind of hard.
This list is difficult.
It is.
Yeah,
well,
it is.
I like the pirate movies because I like pirates, but I think I like more Captain Jack Sparrow is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
More or less. And then the movies, I like the movies, the first 3 movies. Die Hard was a good one. There's a lot of Owens because, you know, such an action junkie on that. But just for as a good movie that I go back and I watch every now and then that is always kind of very inspirational on good acting and stuff. I would probably say it's got to be Rocky 1 or it's got to be Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
And that was when I was in my real acting days of like studying acting, you know.
Yeah.
And I would, it's got to be one of those. Yeah, because those movies to me, I can sit back and watch. You know, now I have a top 5 favorite action movies, but as far as overall movies that I go back to and stuff, you know, those. Braveheart was great. I don't know how historically correct it was, but what Mel did, what Mel did in that movie, you know, I mean, it was great. It's a great interpretation on all that and everything, and with William Wallace and all that. He took on a big project there and succeeded. So
right. What was your favorite role that you've done so far?
This one,
yeah,
okay.
Titus, because I got to be who I wanted to be.
Nice. Okay.
The rest of them, you're just when I was learning in theater and all that other stuff, I was doing a lot of practicing and figuring out who I was as an actor. And everything, and grew up off action movies. I wasn't able to do it to this caliber yet. Now I have. So I was able to get all my chips on the table that I wanted. That will get me to grow to more stuff. So yep, definitely. Because I'm a superhero fan too. So.
Right. Just a random one. Some of your favorite video games.
Favorite video games? That's a tough one. GoldenEye. GoldenEye was probably my favorite video game of all time. I probably beat that game 102 times.
No, it was funny. It's like it is an all-time great game. It was weirdly enough, I never hear it mentioned as anybody's like top favorite games.
Right.
And we played. I played it religiously growing up.
I love GoldenEye. I love GoldenEye, and the movie was great too. Video games, I'm a big Castlevania fan from back in the day. If you know those games, the anime series is not bad at all. So it's
I heard it was really good too.
Yeah, I think they're on Richter Belmont now, so it'd be interesting how they do that. I like those. I mean, I was big on the Mario and Sonic games growing up, but I used to like Siphon Filter. That was a good one back in the day.
Okay.
You know, I love the Batman games, the Arkham games that they had. I played all of them. Halo 2.
Okay.
When I played video games, I'd say Halo 2. Those games were pretty dope. I like that. I think we've talked about Azura's Wrath. I wish they would make a second one on that one. That was dope. That was like a Hindu version of Kratos. Like he was like,
I'm actually shocked they haven't made that yet. But
and God of War's good too. You know, all that stuff is pretty good. I like those. I played some Call of Duty. I liked Halo when I did play the first two. I liked Halo 2. I was a big fan on those pretty much. But I like the James Bond games. I like James Bond.
Okay.
You know.
Dark Knight made my top 5 favorite movies too.
Yeah. Dark Knight. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Heath Ledger's the Joker, one of my favorite characters.
Right.
Yeah, flawless.
Mike, you got
rest in peace to him.
Any questions or anything that you would like to ask?
No, more or less just adding on to what he said earlier about. I think it's funny or cool that he mentioned that theater actors, like, they have the easier time transitioning, because that's what I've noticed most in my class. Like, they're already ready to perform. You just have to, like, bring them down. I just thought that was a really great point that he brought up earlier. And because it's just something that I witnessed. Like, it is like people who are, because my class is full of beginners. Like, a lot of, even though we have a lot of really, really talented actors in my class and actresses, like, most of us never really acted before. So, but the ones who've done theater are the ones who transition the quickest. Like, those are the ones who they don't have an issue performing in front of in front of us and whatnot. It's just, I had to bring it down a little bit. That's just the funniest thing that our coach always says. She's just like, bring it down just a tad bit. And it's just like the one thing that they have to do that I did notice. Also, random question.
Subtext will help you. Yeah. You're learning to read between the lines. Like when I say, how are you? I can say it 5 different ways with 5 different meanings. You learn that or whatever, you'll be good.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to, be able to do it multiple different ways. A very basic question. How old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't do ages, man. What you talking about? Ages are man-made.
Hey, what you talking about, Mike?
Man, come on, man. We stay
25
on that. Yeah, 25.
It's been 25 for 48 years.
We'll go with that.
I ain't 48.
No, but no.
But yeah, I think if you stay active and you eat good, I think our nature doesn't age us. I think our what we do to our bodies ages, and stress is probably the main thing.
Yeah,
we work third shift. That's tiring. The food you eat, not drinking plenty enough water, the right water.
Yeah.
The foods we eat is terrible a lot of times if you can't afford to eat organic food.
Yeah.
No exercise. It's just a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Letting people bother you. Don't let people bother you. Don't let people suck on your soul. And they will if you let them, so don't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't want to cut people loose. And, that's the big thing. And family or no family, you'll act like family if you'll be that. And that'll be your family. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying? People are not trying to help you grow or ascend to the next thing. They're no good for you. This is going to block you. And then it's like it's compression. It's like it suppresses your body. It suppresses your energy, most importantly. You don't want your soul and spirit suppressed. You want to be free to be what you need to be. So that is how we stay more youthful and mature at the same time, I believe.
So are you trying to build an actual production company with what you're doing?
Yeah, I've already built it. It's just, this is the first project.
Okay.
The production company right now is Mystical Core Studios.
I say like what's labeled.
I'm looking for my umbrella company name.
Gotcha.
That is going to cover all over it. I have a few names that I'm looking into, but I get very specific with names because names are energy. So I definitely want to I'm doing that. But right now, yes, definitely with the films and all that, the Mystical Core Studios. That is the studio house. That is the production company that's doing this, and this is the first one, guardian of mine. That's my baby. So that's my first baby.
Yeah.
So,
No, man, I like the name.
First project. Yep.
The names are very powerful.
Yeah, we put it in some film festivals this year, and we're gonna keep pumping it out. We've already won two awards for it, so that's a good thing. And we're just gonna keep on. The podcast when this came up, I was like, well, this is what I need to do next.
Okay,
so I'm just letting it kind of flow, and what I need to do next will be what I need to do next, and then just don't block my.
So when you're big, you can always say you started at Random University first.
Yeah, Random Universities. Yep, Random University on the podcast. Yep.
It's funny that you mentioned Supernatural earlier because that's like one of the things that inspired you for the film. Yep. That is the feel of what I got from the first 20 or so minutes I got to finish. Now I will finish this later, but the thing is that is what I felt when I was watching it was Supernatural. It felt very similar to that.
Good old Dean and Sam.
Yeah, so I feel like, I want to give you a shout out to, you really did kind of replicate that feeling pretty well.
Appreciate it. I was just like, this is a world that covers a lot of different things, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to go they are very comedic. Yeah. In a lot of ways. I didn't want to go that comedic, you know? But I was like, first one I get here and here out, but, it'll get even more. So that and Constantine,
yeah. Okay.
Constantine fan.
2 more questions. Can you speak to any future projects or plans that you have?
Right now, I'm writing a script, and I'm about 30% into it, and it deals with a few different things. It's got a lot of drug trafficking and sex trafficking. About the shipping of people back and forth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Through things. It's got that in there. And it's kind of like an old school Clint Eastwood. The guy comes into town to clean up some stuff. But the way that we go into it and the detail and it's going to be really original. Like just what's going on and the whole, I don't want to give too much away about it, but that's what I'm writing next was what I want to be on my next project. And then getting my comic books illustrated for this movie because I wrote the comic. The comic is this movie.
Okay.
And that's the first comic run. The issues I have, however many issues I have to have, will follow this movie. And what a lot of things we weren't able to do in the movie, I'm able to spice it up and do different scenes and different things in the comics and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what's cool about that. Comics are hard to write though.
Yeah,
they're very detailed.
Are you getting them illustrated?
I want to get them illustrated.
Okay. I
haven't gotten them illustrated yet.
Okay.
I'll get a little bit more money for that. So as money is.
Yeah.
So,
no, I feel that. Like, trust me, I'm working on a $0 budget over here. It's tough. Free productions is tough.
And my whole family can speak to my project that I've been working on for like over a decade now. Not really, but
for the
past like 3-4 years, I've been constructing this rap album that is supposed to be like my magnum opus, but also like my introduction into the music industry. Good. Right.
I've never heard him.
You've never heard him?
I haven't put it out because I'm insecure about it. And
you want to be in the rap? You want to be in hip hop,
right? Yeah,
he insecure. You can't be insecure.
So somebody that I drew a lot of inspiration from was Kanye, and so if it's not,
and you want to be insecure,
all the people I know, right? Like,
right? Yeah. What you talking about, man?
But anywho, at some point it'll come out.
You just gotta look at that. Right. If that's what you drew from someone like him, just see how he's like. There's levels to
doesn't give a fuck.
Right. You just had to be prepared for people to not like it.
Right.
That's like my biggest thing.
Man, I know there's probably people that's not gonna like this movie, but
I
finished it. That's what matters to me.
Right. Yeah, no, that
finishing it and actually putting it out is 90% of the.
Denzel Washington said something very interesting that stuck with me. He said, "I make the teacup and put it on the table. After I do that, I let it go.
Yeah.
Leave it on the table. Whatever you do with it, and however you see it or whatever, it is what it is. I did what I was supposed to do." And if you make a movie and you deal with the things or whatever you're working on, you deal with all the stuff, those people that are judging you are not there in the process of what you have to deal with that made us be like, damn, we couldn't get that part. Or damn, we were able to get this, but this maybe seemed this and this and this. They don't know. They're not there. For the ones that are not there. And that's where a lot of the judgment comes from, is people that are not active in the art.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They think they are, but they're not. Anybody can be a critic. Anybody can sit here and just critique things all day long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, to critique the actual product in the project that you're working on, those problems are what those problems were. You know, only the people that are there can really understand that. So, you know, and you as the visionary is the one that really understands. So,
okay, and
yep,
that's a really powerful message that's in there. So to perfectly wrap this up, then,
so don't be scared.
Right? Don't be
put
be
it
scared.
out.
Put it out.
Yeah.
Right.
You need.
I want to bang it out in my phone.
But
I'm gonna blast it on my stereo. I'm gonna blast it in my Jeep, my white Jeep.
Whenever it's released, I'm going to rock it. I mean, regardless.
Right,
down the neighborhood.
But, you know, just need to do a little bit more, and then I'll feel.
How many songs you got on it?
10.
10. See,
okay.
You right at a good deal.
Right.
Cool.
Good enough album.
There you go.
Right. Okay. So to wrap this up, for the people, once they see the movie, they've watched it, they took it in. What is it, or what feeling do you want them to take away from this?
Find yourself by overcoming your demons. I would think that would be it. The main character has to do that. Find yourself by overcoming your demons. And sometimes we have to see the goal and not the obstacle to get to where we need to go. And whoever's the obstacle, don't matter. You run right through them. And that's what matters. And when you get there, at least you ran through them and you're there. And a lot of people can say that they didn't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's really sound.
When you find yourself, you won't bother people, and a lot of people won't bother you as much because you understand who you are. It's all about understanding who you are as a person and who you have to be. And that's facing fears, that's facing obstacles, challenges, people may say, you know, rejection, all the stuff Titus kind of was talking about. He had let down. It's like, you know what? Forget all that. I'm gonna be me.
I like that.
That's if people can see that and be inspired to step up and deal with whatever is keeping them, you know, secluded to just this one little thing, this whatever it is, like they're keeping you down and keeping you in a spot where you just can't grow or you can't be what you want to be. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have to find a way to get out of that and say, you know, hey, you gotta let things go and grow.
Right.
You know, get to where you need to get to. Do what you need to do.
Right.
Where can people find you?
Yeah.
Where can they find me?
Yeah.
Well, like my website and all that, or stuff. Right now, all I have is I have an Instagram and I have Facebook. My Instagram is Ty Kirby 12. So that's where I post a lot of my stuff at. I have the website that I did on that one, but that's really for the buyers and stuff to look at. My guy that's shopping it around for me, because that's what we're doing right now. So can't really give people that one particularly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The Instagram for right now, and I'm on Facebook. So you just look me up on Facebook as Tyler Kirby, basically, and Ty Kirby 12. That's where I do I post all my stuff there too. So I'll post it and I send things I do mass sends of messages and emails or messages to people, like whenever we're in something or a picture or a poster or whatever. Yeah. That's where you can look me up, and that's where you can find my stuff at, what we're gonna have going on and keep going on. So for right now.
Okay.
Staying off of TikTok.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
But that's where we're at till I build a bigger and better website. I had one at one time, but it just didn't quite do it for me. So I want to get a better option for that.
Right. Okay. Well, this has been a Ran-DomU special interview. Tyler Kirby. And we'll catch you on the flip next time.
Peace.
Holla at you.